there's one project in particular that I wrote in about, our gutter problem here.
Oh yeah, you definitely have a gutter problem. There's no end caps here. Brackets falling off, the spikes are coming out. This joint definitely looks like it will leak. and there's no brackets on that gutter. Well, you have an outlet for a downspout, then again, no downspout.
Yeah, so this is a project that I really wanted to tackle myself. The downspout being one of the biggest problems though, the water coming down, pooling here. I'm concerned about it getting in the basement. So I said, why don't we switch it, put the downspout in the driveway, but then, you know, the winter, the ice.
Yeah, you don't want that.
So I'm really hoping you might have some alternative for me.
Well, you know, a lot of people want to take the gutters off. They don't want to deal with them. They think they're a problem. They got to clean them and everything else. But they're important to protect the house. Water coming off the roof gets into the gutter and then it's dispersed away from the building like downspout. If you take that gutter off, the water coming off the roof hits the ground, splashes back, hits the siding. It could rot the siding and even your sill. But in this situation, you know what, I have an idea that we can put something up here that will take the water off the roof, hit that, and then disperse it so you're not getting splashed back onto the building.
All right.
All right, you want me to get some tools and we can get started?
It.
All right, Greg, you ever see anything like this before?
Never.
Well, I'm going to call this a gutterless gutter.
A gutterless gutter, all right.
All right, it's actually a louver, and you can see it right here, and it will mount to the fascia board on these brackets right here. Now, as the water runs off the roof like a waterfall, it'll splash onto the louver. Because of the angle of the louver, it takes that water that's coming down and turns it into raindrops and pushes it away from the building. Okay? So, first thing we need to do is remove your old gutter and mount the brackets.
Let's do it.
Okay. We got these spikes. These are called spikes and ferrules, which is just a long spike that goes through a tube. We're going to try to work those out. They actually use drywall screws, and that's a no-no. You shouldn't be using that. Okay, before we install the louvres, I want to correct a problem that I see done wrong a lot. See this piece of metal right here? This is called a drip edge, and it's designed to break the surface tension from the water that falls off the roof.
So what exactly is surface tension?
Well, it's like adhesion. So a lot of people think that when the water comes off the roof, it'll fall straight down. Well, a lot of it does, but some of it actually sticks to the shingle, and it will run up and hit the drip edge, and then run down. If there's nothing to stop it, it will continue to stick to the fascia board, run under, run down on the fascia board here, rotting the siding and the fascia board. So what I want to do is create a gap or a space right here at the lower edge of the drip edge, so if the water comes down around, it will fall down straight. So all I need to do is bend this out about 1/4 to 1/2 inch all the way down the roof. Couple of last things I want to do. There's no finished trim piece here, so I want to fill that gap right there with some caulking. And I also want to just touch up these holes where the spikes and ferrules were, hopefully stopping some water from getting behind. All right, we're going to start mounting the brackets to the fascia board. We're going to come in 10 inches from the end, 30 inches to the center, and another 20 inches for the other end. Now the manufacturer wants the bracket mounted to the fascia board as far down as you can get it. They want a minimum of 4 inches from here, the top of the louver, to the bottom of the edge of the roof. They also want it to be 1.5 to 2 inches from the fascia board to the leading edge of the roof. So when the water falls off, it'll splash onto the louver. Okay, ready to screw that into place. Okay, now we'll see if we can get the louver in. And then we just push this back in. clip it. Okay, that in, and then that one.
That's it?
That's it. 3 more to go, and we're done. Good. Push hard. All right, Greg, everything's in, and it feels like we're going to get some rain, but I don't want to wait for the rain, so let's try it out.
All right.
Now, we'll spray some water up on the roof, but this could be like a heavy rain, so my guess is that it's going to run over and past it. It's when it slows down, we'll see what happens when it hits the louver. See, it's tight and hitting the louver, and it's pushing it right out. That's pretty cool.
It's great.
Working good.
Listen, thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Boy, I don't know, Tommy. I mean, I love the fact that it kicks the water away from the sidewall, but all these years we talk about catching the water and moving it away from the house, and it's all just dropping right next to that garage.
Well, it was a pretty tight spot, and it had good drainage down there, and you're right, water should be kept away from the foundation. So when the water drops down, you can always put a French drain above ground in there, and a pipe to get the water away.
So on a big house, we would probably have a drainage system down on the ground.
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
All right. So the key is that the manufacturer wants to make sure that the water comes off the roof and hits the center of the louver or as close to the louver as possible.
So they're worried about the distance between the edge of the roof and the edge of this fascia right here?
Exactly right. And that distance has to be no more than 2 and no less than 1.5 inches.
All right.
So if your roof is closer to the fascia board, they make an extender right here that you can screw on the fascia board, and that will kick the edge out so that when the water falls, it falls down in 10 to the center of the louver.
They're also particular about the mention from here down to the top of this louver, right? It's got to be down a certain height. What if you don't have enough fascia to affix it to?
Well, if you have a narrow fascia board, they make a bracket right here that can be screwed to the bottom of the fascia board, and you can adjust it down as needed. Again, they want it further down. The better it is. It comes off the roof, the water splashes in there, and then disperses.
I know you're always trying to protect against the effects of surface tension, and the drip edge, I mean, you hate the fact that it's touching the fascia. That's just a pet peeve of yours.
Because the water is the enemy. It'll come down off the roof, it'll stick to the fascia board as it falls if there's not a space here. I just like that gap to be at least the thickness of my fingers, so when the water comes down, it won't stick to the fascia board, rotting it.
And your fingers are pretty thick.
Yeah.
So you built this one, and so this is the distance that you like to see. And here, you've got it not just on the fascia, but you've got it going up the rake as well.
Wherever there's a transition from the surface, it should always be a space. Like a windowsill, for example. An angled windowsill, the rain comes down on the windowsill, comes off, hits the leading edge, and it wants to go back up. If you look under that windowsill, there's usually a dado. And that dado is a groove that when the water comes down, it hits that groove, it drops away.
All right, good information as always, thank you. Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.